You always hear the story about that guy that you think just has it all. You just look at their life and you're like, wow, this person has everything I could have wanted. You know, why? What did they do to get there? Like, what did they have? Like, they're not that much different than me. And I'm here to tell you a lot of it has to do with what they did in their 20s, what they didn't buy, what they did buy, and what they chose to allocate their time with. I wanted to discuss the things that you should not buy in your 20s in order to set yourself up very well in your 30s. It's a crazy stat that a bunch of you are not subscribed to the channel. The majority of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So go ahead, leave a subscription on that. That's going to help me out. It's going to help me reach a broader audience, do what I love to do, which is YouTube. So number one on this list is going to be buying too big of a house way too early. I see a lot of people become what I would call house poor, and which that is when, you know, you have a decently sized home, but it takes up a very large portion of your income so that you aren't going to have the available cash reserves to go buy other things that you need. So essentially, you're house poor because you could have a very large house and be house poor, but the rest of your money you're not going to be able to do anything with because it's all tied up in your house. The next one is going to be expensive cars. I can't tell you the amount of people that, got their first big boy job and then they got like a Dodge Challenger or even like a Tesla, something like that, where they're having like a $600, $700 a month payment when they could have just, gotten something a little bit easier, paid it in cash, or had, a tiny payment of like $200 or something. That cash over time, that $600 amount, month to month to month, really does add up, and that really does put a dent in your income and what you can also do by putting that extra cash, if you didn't have a super expense car, into stocks, bonds, real estate, that kind of thing. Number three, you don't see this a lot, sometimes you do, and that is a boat. Boats are fun, but a lot of the time they just sit in the garage or out in the yard for, pretty much 3/4 of the year until summertime rolls around. They roll them out once, and boats are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So it is a very large chunk of cash to throw at something that you're barely going to use and loses value as soon as you take it off that lot. So the next is excessive shoes and clothing. A lot of times, I have some friends that want to get one pair of shoes every single month, and usually those shoes are like upwards of $200. So, if you're going to be spending over $1,000 a month over $1,000 a year on shoes, just think about what you could do if you put that $1,000 to work on something else that isn't shoe, because a shoe is not going to last probably more than a year anyway if you're wearing it excessively. So all of that just essentially goes to waste. Put it into something that would be much more suited toward helping you out than getting a bunch of shoes. Next thing on the list is going to be subscription services. This is like Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, those kind of things. If you aren't actively using them, I know myself, I love Spotify, I love Audible, some other things I wouldn't be able to live without. But honestly, you're looking at cable services. Netflix I barely ever use, so I was going to cancel that out. Other things that are just charging you month to month that you might not look at, these slowly do add up over time, so just cut. All right, next one is going to be going out for coffee. Starbucks now has drinks that are over $6 every single time when you go out. So if you add that up over a week, you go to Starbucks every single day, sometimes even twice a day, that significantly adds up and eats into your turn. So this is something that I myself need to get better at because I personally love Starbucks, but this is something that I just got to cut out. Make coffee at home, do it a couple times, pack it if you have to in like a thermos, and then just go about your day. Next one is going to be house upgrades way too early. A lot of people will get into a house, especially if they just move in it, and then they're ripping up the floors, doing the plumbing, doing a whole bunch of things that are like thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars when the house worked perfectly fine without doing that. There's a time and a place for that, and there's a time and a place to do it. A lot of times if you do that, you might not even get your investment back depending on location. So what I mean by that is you might not get the money back that you put into the house actually upgrading it, even if that's what you thought you were going to be doing with that money in the first place. So if you're on the younger side in your 20s, go ahead and save your money. Don't do that all yet unless you absolutely need to, unless there's a structural need. All right, next on the list is going to be going out to eat too often. A lot of times people are going out to fancy dinners, they'll be spending $100 after tips in total, and they'll do that either multiple times a week or at least once a week. If they're going out once a week and doing that, that's $400, $500 every single month. Add this up over time, it's a lot. Just go ahead, make your favorite foods at the food store, it'll be a fraction of the price. And then lastly on this list is going to be a college degree. All right, make sure you're doing the right investment if you're going to be going to college, because you need to be having, the right major for the right career that you want based on the finances that you want to achieve. Don't just go in willy-nilly and then just get some kind of liberal arts degree just because you want to go to college and party. Got some videos over here. Go ahead and check them out. Deuces.